All right. We are live with another Writer's Block Live uh, with new mayor, Trussville Mayor Ben Short. People will trickle in, I'm sure. If they don't, they'll watch it on replay later. But welcome into the last, at least for now, of these Writer's Block Lives. It's been fun. It's something new and a challenge for me. You know a lot about challenges this year. What's it been like this first week in the new role as mayor of the city of Trussville?
Oh, that's what I've been telling everybody. We're a week in. I haven't burned the city down yet, so I think we're surviving. I think we're doing okay. I was put in a pretty good position. With having so much time from a transition standpoint, so it's been good. And I'm excited for you to wrap these things up. For now, I kind of joked. I was coming from an event earlier tonight. I was like, I've got to go because I promised Gary months ago that I would do this, and I committed, so I can't back out on him now.
Right.
And you had to reschedule on me, and I'm like, do I use this to tell Gary no? But here I am, here with you tonight.
Thank you for not saying no. It turns out the reason that it had to be rescheduled didn't matter at all. It was like they moved the football game because they thought last Friday was going to be horrible, and it really wasn't that bad. At all. So
hey, here we are.
Here we are. We're handling it. We're doing it now. What was it like? Okay, before y'all got sworn in Monday, what was some of your last fun you had before the real work started?
Oh man, so vacations are over. Amanda and I love to travel, and we got to escape on one last trip. I hated it because I had to miss Judge Chambly's retirement celebration and the going away for Mayor Choate as well. But I felt it was important for us to escape one last time, knock one of Amanda's bucket list items off. So we flew out to Iceland for a few days with some friends and had a great experience. And fortunately, we were able to make it back. I know a lot of folks out there today with all the canceled flights and everything. We were able to make it back before all the mayhem of what we're seeing today.
Yeah, I saw some of the pictures. Just like, was it like a generational snow or something? What was the deal?
Yeah, so we arrived, in Iceland because it was a direct flight out of Nashville. So anybody interested, direct flight out of Iceland or to Iceland from Nashville. And we got like $450 round trip tickets. So it was hard to pass up. So
how long of a flight is that?
6 hours. So it's not too bad. It's not too bad.
Okay.
But we did that. So we arrived, and then they had one of the biggest snows in Iceland's history, 30-year history. So we made it, and then the world kind of shut down in Iceland for a little bit. Amanda was not prepared. She was raised in Florida. Hadn't really seen snow like that.
Yeah.
Seen Alabama snow, but that's nothing.
Not like that. Yeah.
And so we actually had to buy her new shoes while we were there because of the amount of ice we were walking on. But it was a fantastic trip. Loved every minute of it.
My wife's from Florida too. So
whereabouts in Florida?
She's from Pace.
Hey, real close. So Amanda's Gulf Breeze. We say Pensacola, but that's where we met at University of West.
That's kind of what Jessica will say. She's like, I'm from Pace. It's near Pensacola. That always follows.
Yeah, my in-laws were in that general area as well. We just moved them up to Birmingham. So really, they're in Clay now. But I couldn't find somewhere flat. For them, single level flat in Trussville was hard to find at the time. So we moved them off Old Springville Road. So
there we go. We'll go ahead and throw that up. He said he'd be watching another one of our Justin Williamson, another
Justin, one 06 grad. What's up, Justin?
I'm saying another one of our classmates. He said he'd be tuning in tonight. I think he had an alarm scheduled to make sure he didn't miss it because
that's commitment, my friend.
And I've had to keep him updated on all the changes in times too. So
Justin and I used to have to sing for tips over at the Cold Stone Creamery back in the day. So.
Welcome in, Justin. Glad you're here. Let's talk about this council. I know I've talked about it with all of them and just kind of asked them about the group, but for you, having a slightly different perspective, being mayor, what do you think about this new council? Obviously, you know Jamie really well, but just the rest of the group.
Yeah,
too.
So Jamie and I are close. We've developed a really strong relationship, professional relationship over the 5 years on council. I think. She comes in with a lot of institutional knowledge, being the daughter of former mayor Gene Melton. So there's a benefit to having that knowledge and kind of having that perspective available to you. And I can lean on Jamie, and I know that, and I'm appreciative of that. I'm glad to call her a friend and colleague. there's a lot of Leadership Trussville Class 2 grads in this mix. So
Yep.
I actually met Brian Jackson and Ben Horton in that process. So
Okay.
didn't really know them prior to Leadership Trussville, but we've developed a friendship through there. And, they all have their strengths, which is really, really neat to see the intellectual makeup of the group that we have, right? So Jim and Kimberly, I didn't know Jim that well, but I've gotten to know him over the course of the campaign and now working together. Really, I think we've got a lot of promise with this group. I've known Kimberly for a few years now. Her and her husband, great people, and really everybody has their own specialty. And they bring such a unique perspective. I think it's really going to be a benefit for everyone. So.
Yeah. How did their, I don't know how this works with each administration, but how did their liaison assignments kind of come about?
Yeah. So I will say I did it a little bit differently. I reached out to all of them and asked for their preference, kind of give me your top 5. And we're doing something a little different this time. Rather than one city councilor being that liaison for 4 years, I felt it was important that we kind of mixed it up. So years 1 and 2, they'll have their specific liaisons, and then it'll rotate. So and now I was also able to give the majority, if not all of them, they all got at least 4 of their 5 requests over that time period. So everybody kind of got what they wanted for the most part, which I tried my very best to accommodate. But there were a lot of requests for the same thing, which makes it almost impossible to please everyone in that regard. But we kind of aligned their strengths and their backgrounds. In this case, we'll kind of go through all of them just to kill some time, as we have 11 viewers watching. Appreciate y'all tuning in. So let's start with Jim. Jim, history guy. It was evident when I watched his initial podcast with you. So obviously he's got the history side of it, and he was already on the Veterans Committee. So those were 2 that were kind of like no-brainers for him. So and then we've kind of evolved that. And then let's see, Brian was already on planning and zoning. I felt it was, and he's been such an instrumental part in helping us reshape our subdivision regulations. And so I didn't want to interfere with that. I felt it was important to have that carry over as we work toward kind of finalizing those plans. We should be able to make that swap in year 3, and subdivision regs should be completely done well before then. So we're making really good progress there. Kimberly and Ben both have a prior relationship with the Trussville area Chamber of Commerce, so it was kind of a no-brainer for there. Kimberly, coming from IDA, made a good fit there. Ben Horton on the public safety side, he owns a company that has public safety nexus, so it all kind of blends in, and so it just really makes a ton of sense. And Jamie, obviously being the senior counselor, I tried to give her preference just out of respect for her, and she is. Her big one is the school board. But, that's really the one that's going to take the majority of her time. I felt it was important to make sure we're doing all we can to help them.
When that swap happens after years 1 and 2, is there an attempt to give them something that maybe they don't know as much about, just to touch something they don't have much experience with, or what?
Yeah, so they know what their years 3 and 4 assignments are. So they have a spreadsheet that kind of outlines. Now it's not set in stone. We could obviously modify or adjust, but really the goal is to make everyone more well-rounded and understand all of the different elements of the city. And that's not just on the city council side. Something that we're doing that another Class 2 graduate's helping me with, he serves on a few of our committees, is an alignment forum. So we have all these different boards and committees that are kind of like working in silos. Not everybody knows what everybody's doing. And so to kind of self-correct that, Chris Reeves is helping me. And there's a few other in the mix that are helping me kind of navigate this. But I felt it was important to kind of bring all those arms together and get us out of those silos. So you'll see an alignment group come together where 2 members of each of these primary development committees are kind of meeting on a monthly basis initially, and then it'll rotate to a quarterly. So they are we're all moving the same direction, right? So I felt it was important that all of our boards and committees understand the administration's priorities from each perspective. And so they'll go back and they'll report to their specific committees about what's going on.
Yeah.
And so we're calling that the alignment forum, and it'll be a group of individuals from Parks and Recreation, Planning and Zoning, Active Transportation, and IDA primarily. Those are the big ones. Really anything with a development nexus, we felt that was important. So.
Okay. How'd you come up with that? Where's that born, I guess?
Really, a lot of it's just the observations over the past 5 years. Sitting on Planning and Zoning, this is something that, we've had multiple conversations about. It's everybody's doing what they're supposed to. But as this new administration comes into play and we start working toward developing a new comprehensive master plan, it's just important that everybody is operating from the same playbook.
Yeah, absolutely. Let you take a breath real quick. Tell y'all real quick that this last Writer's Block Live is sponsored by 360 Lending. Appreciate Lisa McClellan of 360 Lending for sponsoring the podcast. She's been in Trussville more than 20 years. Opened 360 Lending in 2022. Navigating paths to homeownership. Visit my360lending.com. Also, the Mark Turner Law Firm. For all your attorney needs, visit markturnerlawfirm.com or call 205-568-7003. You'll see that at times on the ticker throughout this live show tonight. So appreciate both of them sponsoring these live shows. Let's talk about subdivision regulations.
All right. Well, first, let me thank Lisa and Mark, two staples in Trussville. Grateful for y'all sponsoring this and all you do for our community. So thank you for dedicating dollars to this effort tonight. And really, not just tonight, over the course of how many months have we been doing this now?
We did. It was
a year?
No. These live ones, it's been like a 10-week run.
Okay, really. 10 weeks. Well, it feels way longer than that.
Well, some of them have gotten rescheduled.
Yeah.
But so maybe it's been more like 12 weeks, but
All right. So subdivision regulations. What do you want to know?
Everything. Like what? I know we've talked about it before. Kind of we've lightly talked about it.
Yeah.
How long it's been since they've been updated, why there needs to be updates, and just kind of what those updates need to be.
Yeah. So over the past, I guess the past decade, there have been efforts to update the subdivision regulations, and it's for some reason or another, there's been points of contention that has not led it to come to fruition. But the last time our subdivision regulations were updated, and again, this is off my brain, and it's been a long day today. 1978, I believe, was the last time that our subdivision regulations were updated in its entirety. And it was the manual that I read, the subdivision regs that I read, where actually you could see that it was clearly typed by a typewriter. You got that document, and I was just like, "There's no PDF version of this. It's just a scanned document. There's no way to kind of search and navigate and make it user.
You're living in my world of the archives.
That's what it felt like. And it's funny, Mr. Glenn, I'm pretty sure it was Mr. Glenn. He goes, "Did you notice whose signature's on the back of that document?" It was his. It was his. It was funny. So I got a good kick out of that. But
hilarious.
But no, so we're making really, really good progress. Brian Jackson was appointed to Planning and Zoning prior to him running for council, and he took his time, got his feet wet under him, and was like, "Hey, I feel like I know what my purpose is here, and it's to help get through this." And he's been instrumental in kind of helping navigate that. But prior to Brian, something that all of our analysis has kind of shown is that where Planning and Zoning in 2021, kind of where those regulations were and what they had come to, and the things that they had kind of put in place are really holding strong compared to all of our peer cities. And so we're finding more and more that document is what we're leaning on, and that wins every time when we do our analysis. And so we were so close in 2021, and really the Planning and Zoning Council of the time, Daryl Skipper, Jim Meads, Brett Isom, I think Brian Dawkins was in that group too. And I know I'm missing some, so I'm sorry, y'all. But that group had really done a lot of the legwork. And so it is making us, it's making going through that process much easier now, because now we basically thrown the 1978 document to the wind. And now we're comparing what they did form in 2021 to modern peer cities around us. And so we're not only analyzing peer cities around us, we're looking at across the country, cities that we feel have done a good job. So you look at Madison, Mississippi, Franklin, Tennessee, and then one of mine that I put into the mix was Carmel, Indiana. When you look at the city planning guidebook and do all the research and really dive deeper into that, Carmel, Indiana has been a model city as it relates to regulations and doing development the right way. And so, but to say all that, all the work that was put in by planning and zoning prior, it's holding strong compared to all those peer cities in 2021. So we're in a really good place. We're making solid progress, and I think the council will probably have something February, March.
That quick.
Yeah. We've been working on it for a few months now, and being very intentional, going section by section, and had some extra side meetings and things like that.
Yeah. So if you were taking these subdivision regulations and putting it like layman's terms for residents in Trussville, and you were saying, all right, this is what we've updated. Like, what does it mean to them? Like, what's changing? What's going to make sense to them?
Yeah, I think just the overall aesthetics of development in and of itself. It's being very intentional about the way we build things, the style in which we do it. The density calculations. Really, it's being intentional about where we're building these things as well. So it's taking all those things into account. So the regulations in and of itself, I hate to say that it's not going to stop development by any stretch of the imagination. It's just providing a framework for developers to navigate within, and it may add additional costs for them from a development standpoint, but it's ensuring that we're doing development the right way, and that the overall intention and the aesthetics behind these developments are what Trussville wants to see.
Yeah. There's not a whole bunch of room left for more housing developments.
You'd say that, but
there's pockets.
Just in the past couple of weeks, I couldn't tell you how many developers have come to me and
walked through the door.
Have been like, hey, we want to build in Trussville. And that's the thing. I think a lot of people have a misconception of that the city gets to pick and choose what comes here from a business or development standpoint. And that is not, it could be further from the truth. Outside of the only thing the city can do is operate within the regulations that we have on books. Yeah. And so, and that's why it's so important that we update to modernized standards or modern standards.
I learned that never more than, what year is that? 2011, maybe, when the thrift store tried to move into the old food world, which is now it's escaping me. Fresh Value. Yeah. When they tried that, that caught the city council at the time by surprise. I don't remember which councilman, but we found out somehow. I don't remember how, but I was tasked with calling a couple of the councilmen, and one of the ones I called was like, "Can't talk right now. I gotta call mayor." It was breaking news to him. They didn't even know. Yeah. So it's kind of to your point that you don't know necessarily who's coming in at what time and that kind of thing.
And that's kind of the hope with the comprehensive master plan that's specific to these are the areas we're going to develop. This is the way we're going to do it. This is the regulation we're going to put in place. It allows us to, ensure that we don't overpopulate in storage units or car washes or all these other things, all these other things that people don't want to see. And that's really why it's so important that we have regulation in place, because that's the only way we can prevent some of the things we don't want to see it from occurring. Because obviously property owners have the legal rights to do what they want to, but that's inside of whatever regulation the city has on the books. So.
Yeah. You said not to see too many of this, and these certain things.
I straight up named it because I see it all the time.
Storage units. Is that what's going in front of my neighborhood, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. So that piece of land, it's kind of interesting. So that piece of land, it's owned industrial, so it could have been a different application. But a piece of that property, when they sold it, was actually, there was restricted use, and the only allowed use was for storage facilities. Very interesting. Okay. Very odd. I've never seen that.
That is odd.
Yeah. So we backtracked that, and it was just a very interesting piece. And that's when it was sold over to Signature. There was an application for that, for part of it, not both sides. But but I will tell you this: the city did all they could to do what they could to, I won't say prevent, but those are going to be some of the best looking storage units you've ever seen after our design review process. So
when I turned out of the neighborhood tonight on the way here, wasn't that spot being cleared out, but the spot a little bit up the road being cleared for Murdoch for the RV and all that. Just about ran over a coyote crossing. So coming out of where their habitats were and running across the road, but
yeah, I mean, unfortunately, anything along Highway 11 or that Deerfoot corridor
is
prime
going to
commercial
be
property.
yes, it is.
What developers want to see, and without regulation, without a comprehensive master plan, there's nothing we can do to stop it.
Exactly.
Why it's so important. That's why I keep bringing it up, and
Mm-hmm.
I think this council believes in that. I think you'll see some progress there.
Yeah. So let's talk about comprehensive master plan. Like how does it differ from subdivision regulations? What all goes into it? When was the last time it was updated?
Last time that it was updated was 2004, published in 2006, right?
Okay.
So the document was published in 2006, but they began working on it in 2004.
Okay.
Lynn Porter, Gene Melton, and that crew, they did a lot of that legwork. And when you look at it on the city's website, most of the things within it have been accomplished. So there's a lot of that has been accomplished and hadn't been updated since. Obviously, you have the Trussville 2040 plan, which differs from a comprehensive master plan from land use. But I would say the primary difference between that and subdivision regulations, subdivision regs strictly handle subdivision in and of itself. A master plan is a document that planning and zoning can utilize when they're making rezoning requests. We identify as a city, this is a commercial use, this is industrial use, this is residential use. This is where you can have pockets of multifamily if we ever had that, like townhomes, things like that. But you've got to have all of that identified. Even if you don't do it, you have to have all those things inside of the plan and addressed in the plan. And that gives planning and zoning the legal backing that they need to justify a denial. Because right now, if planning and zoning were to deny a request that goes against the existing comprehensive master plan, developers then have a legal means to go to probate and have their ruling overturned.
Yes.
So, and then that is legal cost to the city of Trussville trying to defend a decision that technically, should have gone a different way.
Exactly. So. Interesting. So, like, what goes into looking at something from 2006 and updating a comprehensive master plan? Like, what's different now that
think about what our population was in 2006 when you and I graduated high school. 12,000.
12,000.
12,000, and we're at 28,000 and counting now.
Lord have mercy.
So you think about the growth that we've experienced over that period of time, and that comprehensive master plan did not expect that. They did not account for. And that's another thing that a lot of people don't realize. A lot of the majority of the residential development that you see today was approved well before. I mean, we're talking early to mid 2000s is when most of this, with the exception of Stockton, which I think was 2012, somewhere in there.
Okay.
But you think about that. So you got Stockton, Longmeadow, Carrington. Those are three of the largest subdivisions in Trussville.
Yeah.
And they're just now coming to an end. Carrington still has some. Stockton's done.
Finally,
But Longmeadow is a few units away. We're close on that. And so most of the big ones are coming to an end. But that master plan at the time did not account for the volume of homes that was going to create, which did not account for the amount of students that were going to be inside of our school system.
Exactly.
So moving forward, that comprehensive master plan has to account for all of that. We have to identify, this is where we're projecting our population to be. This is where we project that we're going to need, we have to identify land for school uses and things like that. All of that gets filtered in. Same with roadway improvements. All of that is a part of the equation.
Yeah. Jeremy Long had a question. He said, it's amazing it's taken all this time to put together a comprehensive master plan. Thank you, Ben Short, Trussville Mayor, for making this a priority. How long will this type of thing take to put together and put in place?
Yeah. So first things first, I've got to convince the council to approve the funding. So my intention, and these are expensive. So there's an overall cost of about $500,000 to do this the right way. But fortunately for us, there's some grant money out there through the Regional Planning Commission that we hope they'll partner with us. They're currently partnered with us on an active transportation plan, but we're hoping that they'll come in play and help us with our comprehensive master plan. So that would be an 80-20 split. So the city of Trussville, our taxpayers would be on the hook for about $100,000 to get this thing rolling. And so once the council approves the expenditure, which I've identified the pocket of money where we can pull from to make this come to fruition, I just got to sell it to the council, and I think they'll be on board. It is a priority for all of us. I think we all campaigned on it pretty much. I have to go back and look, but it's a long process, unfortunately, and not unfortunately, but there's a lot of public input that are involved. That's involved in developing a plan like this. So think town halls, think, literally everything. So there's a lot of that built into this, and we'll really lean on the experts from the Regional Planning Commission. They're no stranger to this. They've done a lot of for a lot of municipalities across this area, and so we'll lean on them and their expertise. But I'll also be kind of throwing it out there to the community that, hey, we need your input. We want to hear what you want to Trussville to be. And without that input, if you don't get involved, someone else is going to get involved, and you may not agree with their perspective of what Trussville should be. So we'll highlight that, we'll advertise it, and we'll give the community the opportunity. And it's just super, super important that the community comes out and engages with the folks that are putting this plan together. Because while we do have 5 city councilors that represent you, we can't do that if you're not actively out there making your voice heard.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's transition that into some finance and budget stuff.
Oh man. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Lean for now, right?
Yeah.
What does that mean for you, for this council, for this next, however long, this next fiscal year, I guess? What does that look like?
So it's a fine balance. Everything is balance, right?
Yeah.
Right now, we're looking at specific policies to institute where I've examined contracts, to see where we can renegotiate terms. Just case in point, I've been in office 6 weeks. Or 6 weeks. Wow, 6 days. Sorry, 6 weeks in my mind. We've renegotiated a contract for cell phones where we've identified a net savings. And I haven't even reported this to council yet, but you're hearing it live.
There you go.
On the Writers Block. We've renegotiated and haven't finalized this, but based on the general things that we're seeing now, we're going to be able to renegotiate our cell phones and save about $120,000 over 3 years. So 40 grand doesn't sound like a lot, but when you do things like this repetitively, that money can add up. And so we're analyzing all of that. We're being super intentional about our purchases. I've been very specific with our department heads. Hey, we are maintaining the status quo of what the last year has been for them. And so we're just really taking a microscope to everything to see where we can make improvements. The general public knows about the retirement incentive. Yeah. I think there's some modifications we can make to that to maybe make that more appealing for some. We can explore that in the months ahead, but it's a combination of all of that and just being very intentional about the staff that we do have and kind of leaning on them to help us get to where we need to be.
The staff portion of that, you posted it the other day, David Vinson retiring.
Yeah.
When it is being intentional about the staff, like obviously David's 30 years of experience here, he retires. Is it effective end of the year?
Yeah, so David's with us until the end of the year, but it's holidays at the end, and he's been around 30 years. He's got a lot of days.
He's got a lot of days.
He doesn't want to lose. We don't want him to lose, so
no.
he needs to take advantage. But I don't think you've seen the last of David. Don't push harder than that. But
okay,
I think
nice little carrot to dangle.
When I can talk about it, I will.
Well, what does that look like as far? Well, this might answer that question, but like with it being, you're offering early retirement for various folks that work for the city. When a department head with that much experience, obviously they probably, I don't know his pay, but it's got to be pretty good. He's a department head. Replacing those folks, is that not happening right now?
It depends on the position. So David's position, obviously we have to replace the director, right?
Sure.
But there are some cases where positions will take advantage of this, where we can merge positions and kind of move things around.
Okay.
Kind of evaluate the structure of what we have. Really, all of this is theoretical at the moment, but we're being very intentional to analyze all of that and do it in a way where it doesn't impact the service that the community receives.
Yeah. Okay.
And we never want to jeopardize public safety either. So it's kind of fun. Again, balance.
Balance. So we haven't maybe heard the last of David. Okay.
There you go.
Been around a long time. I was glad you added that to that post when I sent you that little.
The history thing. That was cool.
Well,
I haven't seen it before.
Oh yeah, I've obviously seen all these things. Just spending so much time in the archives, I can now do most of that from home. If it's a newspaper that, essentially, if it's a state newspaper, I can find it.
Yeah.
Pretty quickly and pretty easily. So when I saw that, I was like, throw this young version of David in there. You know?
David when he had more hair. And David, if you're watching, I'm sorry, man.
Had to show people what he looked like in
That's right.
1996 on the same playground equipment now.
Was it?
It looked.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. We'll have to ask David. He'll know. He'll know.
I heard there might be maybe some of this grant stuff. Maybe was
Hey, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed for now.
Yeah,
Okay.
we've not had the official announcement, but things. Look, I'm going to speak it into existence.
Speak it
I'm
into
going to speak it into existence. So
can confidently
you know,
speak it into existence.
David and his team submitted a grant for a playground where it's a matching grant. It required $1 million from the city, but the federal government would give $1 million toward the effort as well. So, but that would completely change the park landscape for
and that's the
library.
The Masonic one right behind the library,
Correct.
right? Just that one.
Just that one.
Got it.
But a massive improvement.
Massive improvement. I mean, yeah,
it would turn it into one of the best parks in the state of Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, a couple $1 million, for something like that, that would, that would be incredible.
Yeah,
we got a little flashing light.
We got a little flashing light. We'll
roll with it.
We'll roll with it.
We'll roll with it. It's fine.
Yeah. I'll kill it. I'll get rid of it.
All right. There we go.
All right.
It's
always a bug sometimes.
Always when you do stuff live. We talked about it before we came on. That's right. When it's live.
And someone's going to cut me saying what I just said. I'm not going to repeat it. So.
There we go. Sorry. Now I've got a pop up happening. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, let's keep going here. Cahaba project.
Oh, okay.
Is that fine?
Yeah, no. I told you nothing off limits.
Nothing's off the table.
Yeah.
Just take me through, I guess, just, I know when you ran for council, that was one of the things you talked about, and just kind of take me through what's happened over the last few years from your standpoint, where things are at today, and just kind of your kind of 30,000 foot view of the issue, the subject.
All right. So, I mean, from an outsider looking in, there's a lot of passion related to both sides of this argument, right? So, I will say, my going into this role, my perspective is different than what it is now. But I still believe in the preservation of the historic project and the overall aesthetic and feel of that. And it's not just design standards for the project. I think there should be design standards across the city, across all applications, all residential, all commercial should have some form of design standards related to it, right? And so, I think we are close to seeing a compromise. And so we've come a long way, kind of navigating the issue from both perspectives. We bring people in that are pro-development, pro-property rights, don't do anything about it, don't change my ability to do anything with my property. And that's not the intention here. And then you have folks that are anti-demolition. You shouldn't demolish anything. You should build back to the exact design standards that existed in the 1940s or 30s. We put all those people in a room, and then you begin crafting a solution that fits the mold. And so I think after years, over the past couple of years, really, we've come a long way in that. I kind of give the Cahaba Heritage Homestead Foundation, I give y'all a lot of credit on educating the general public on the importance.
Sure.
And so I think that has helped. But we also have to be cognitive of property rights. So again, it's all about that balance, and that's why I felt it was important to bring everybody into the room together and really hash it out. And so I think you'll see, in my opinion, a resolution that isn't going to make either side happy, and maybe that means we have the right solution. And so I think we are in a position to have the most legally defensible solution. But does it solve the demolition issue entirely? No, it does not. And does it provide design standards so we're building back something that fits the overall project and the intention of the project? I think it does. And it does it in a way that doesn't tell you what color to build your house or paint your house. So
no one was ever saying that. 2018 got out of hand from some people, and it was never about that. I think. And Zach Steele will say this, and I don't think he would mind me saying this. I know Zach's heart was in the right place back then. But I think maybe I'm not even going to say the way he went about it. He did what he thought needed to be done. And I think there were some people saying some stuff that wasn't super true. But what you just said about where it's at now, and it might not make everybody happy. It won't. Nothing.
It's not going
nothing.
to.
You're never going to make anybody happy about
Yeah.
anything or everything. But it's the closest that it's not just this now administration that's been in there 6 days. It's not just this past administration that you were on a council of. I mean, we're going back decades.
We are.
Where this is. It's nothing new. It's just happening more. And it's one of those things. Bob Davis has said it he said it at that 2018 meeting. He said, if we don't get something done, we're going to lose this thing, and we can't lose the thing, know.
And that's the reality. And as much as I would love for people to maintain what was built there, I understand modern building codes, and I understand both perspectives. And while I personally believe, you should take every available means to preserve what exists,
Sure.
I'm also a realist and understand that there's two sides to this. And ultimately, through negotiation, we've come to a solution where everybody came in halfway. And I think that's when it gets before the planning and zoning and the council, I think that's what you'll see. And in my opinion, based on the history that I have and the knowledge that I have related to all of this, and you gotta realize I've been in meetings with both sides consistently, and I've been an advocate for the project since I became on the council. I still am. I mentioned it on a Tribune interview where that was one of my biggest regrets, is not having this solved before then. But the complexities of it.
It gets deep.
It gets real deep. And then now in this role, I have a fiscal duty to do what I can to protect, all of Trussville's tax dollars as well. And so I want to make sure that what we do propose is allowing us to put us in a position to be able to defend it in the best way possible. Because there will be legal challenges to this, and I'm not afraid of that. I get it. And I don't think this council is afraid of that. But in the end, we want to be right. So, and we want to do what we can to preserve and protect what we do have of the project.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I've said for, oh gosh, where are we going on 5 years now or something like that, is, people get so black and white, speaking absolutes.
Yeah.
And I think you've obviously learned how nuanced and how deep, how complex this thing is. That's what I've tried to show people is, talking about houses. Oh, you just want the house as small as it was in 1938. You just want this tiny little whatever. And I am not one to give, I've said this a billion times, Ben, that, but I am not one to give the federal government credit. I don't like to do that, but I will give the Resettlement Administration credit that those blueprints, those layouts of those houses, your smaller ones, they had a room on the back for future addition. It's in the blueprints. And I've tried to show people that for years now, that it's no one's saying don't add on to your house. They're just saying don't change the street facing exterior, the aesthetic.
And that's exactly, to your point. That's exactly what this, when it gets to P&Z and the council, that's exactly what this hopes to accomplish. You can build back whatever you want. You can add on whatever you want. Just maintain the front facing or a street facing is, I think, how the terminology and
street facing
aesthetic. Within these specific, design elements. And there are a multitude that you can pick from. We're not telling you this is what you got to build. You can build as big of a house as you want to, just build back. And that's what this particular solution will allow.
I'm going to leave that one there. I'll talk to you offline.
Who was it?
No, I'm not going to. I'll talk to her offline. I'm obviously team preservation as much as possible. And so is Zach Steele, and so are a lot of people,
I know. And I'm there. I hope you hear that in my voice. I wish that was the solution in its entirety, but realistically, with the laws we have on the book,
How does it get to that point? I was curious about this. I know the project doesn't have an active HOA currently, and I know my neighborhood does, right? Yeah. But I guess what hurts is the history guy is seeing people. I guess I will just say it. I understand that you want to build what you want. I know more than anything, people today just want that location. I totally get that.
Yep.
Totally get that. I would want the location too.
It's like some of the flattest land in Trussville.
Flattest land, yes, but it's also the lots are big. Cahaba Elementary is the number one reason. your parks, it's truly the heartbeat of the city. It's the middle of the city. It is. But some people potentially seeing it as a blank canvas. To me, that's at least how I feel. That's just my opinion.
No, I don't
But
disagree.
seeing it as just like, oh, I'll just take down this old house and build something, to the sky. To me, it's just, I'm just one guy. But to me, it's just kind of wrong.
I don't disagree with you, and I think when we get this plan out there, you'll see the specific design standards that we have in mind will address a lot of that.
Sounds good.
While also doing our very best
Yeah.
to ensure that property owners have the ability to modernize and build onto their homes.
Yeah. What about?
This is not a win-win for anyone.
No, it's not. It's compromise. What during all this, without like I don't know any of the specifics in this, and don't want to. Can't, being on the CHHF. That's not my business. I'm just educating about the history and what we have here that's nationally historic. I've always got to put it in there. But what have you learned about maybe other communities that you've looked at across the country? Pros that they've done, cons that they've encountered, like places that you've looked at. And
there's a lot of good examples of historic overlays across this country. Mm-hmm. That we have utilized to formulate a compromise solution. There are significant economic benefits to historic overlays. It's proven over and over again.
Yes.
And it really, there are a lot of arguments, and I think if we can communicate and solve a lot of the misnomers or the sensationalized misinformation, I think we can overcome a lot of that. And I think the vast majority of those within the project in Trussville, while they may want to build a brand new home, understand, making it feel and look like it was the intention behind the overall community development.
Yeah, I may be getting too far ahead, but design review.
Yeah.
I mean, we've heard for years, no teeth in it. You come there with your design or, your plans, at least for the project specifically. And ultimately, it's just a suggestion. Is that accurate?
I would say that is accurate in its current form. Current form.
So am I getting too far out of my skis here right now?
You're not getting too far out of your skis, but let's just say that
that's for another day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's ultimately up to the new council.
Sure.
I have long been an advocate again of preserving the historic nature and look of the project, and that's may entail giving a little bit more teeth to design review, but it's also giving them inside of this negotiated resolution or ordinance or whatever the case may be, should the council decide to pass it.
Sure.
It gives them specific standards to follow. So they're not going to be able to dictate, this is the material you're using, this is the color you're going to use. It's going to be, does it meet the check boxes of what this ordinance says? And if it does, they're not going to tell you anything about it. You can just boom, move on, because it hits all the boxes based on what the ordinance states.
So that makes sense.
So really, that's what it's all about. And really, I view design review. We want to give them more teeth, but at the same time, they're there primarily to help educate people about the project and what the intention was.
Yeah.
And so they've done a really good job of that when they can. There's obviously people that are going to do what they're going to do within the bounds of the law. We get that, but that entire design review, and I was on it for 5 years.
Yeah.
We did our very, very best, and we were successful in a lot of cases. Not successful in some. We won't name the specific folks, but
no, there's no reason to name them.
Yeah,
I've never been in that camp. But shame them or whatever.
We've done a lot to do within the bounds of the law to kind of protect the nature and the intention of the project, and I think I would love to see design review, should the council elect to do so, have more teeth behind what they do, and not just for residential. I mean, for all commercial applications, they really are. Again, I mentioned earlier on in the podcast that I feel it's really, really important to have design standards for everything.
Everything. Yeah.
All housing, all commercial, all industrial, all of that should have some form of design standards. And really, the design review board should be the checks and balance for that. They should be the ones affirming, yes, you have met your obligations for within our design standards. So I think giving them the teeth is going to be important.
Yeah. Well, and like I would imagine that design review, helping kind of craft what things look like all across the city. I mean, that helps give your city identity.
It does.
And in some places, there probably isn't identity right now because of a lack of.
We have done a really, really good job in downtown, and we have a downtown overlay. Yep. We have a Highway 11 transition overlay, which we have done pretty good, but there's only one of them. We should have interstate transitions. We should have different, transitions. Husky Parkway, Deerfoot Parkway, all of these things that are the future for development should have some overlay and some design standard associated with that. And really, that goes back to the original question of all of that's kind of built into this comprehensive master plan.
Gotcha. I think we
got real deep on development and the project.
Well, those are two of the big things. We can move off to something else now.
Any questions from your audience? Or you want to?
No, just a few comments. No questions. We'll leave some of that there for now. I'm not going to put some of that on the screen, but let's move to something I'm curious about, and something that you're well versed in. Communication strategy. What does that look like for you? What does that look like for the city?
One of the first things that I did in office. I campaigned on it. It was a point that I was sometimes frustrated with was how late counselors received some information, and that's not a knock. It's just the reality of how the government works.
Sure.
But I've made it very clear and kind of put that out to the department heads, and they understand that the priority is that any of their requests, they're going to hit an agenda or have to be done 7 days prior. That way the city will receive our entire agenda packet. It won't be just the agenda. You'll actually be able to see the context, the proclamations, the ordinances. You'll be able to read and dive deeper into those. So those are going to get posted to social media. Eventually, there'll be a landing page on the city's website where you'll be able to go and click on those agenda packets. Jefferson County Commission does it. Hoover does it. That's something that we're going to do as well. And really, it's gives the community more time to dive into the issues, and they can see the things that are there with context. And I think that's important. Overall, that's how we're going to handle the city business. I think I've already started to leverage my social media from an information standpoint. I'm going to continue to do that so people know what's going on. Whether it be, highlighting a food pantry, or if it's, trash is going to run on a normal basis this week because of the holiday. I think you're going to see a lot of that communication. And, there's unfortunately some trees that are going to have to come down on Parkway Drive. Tree Commission, we're kind of working together to craft this master plan as it relates to replanting the trees inside the project. So I think you'll see some of that. We've got a few of those trees marked now. They're wrapped in orange. So I've got a letter that's going to be going out to the neighbors that are in close proximity to them. And we'll do a social media post explaining they're rotten on the inside. This is the why. We've had arborists look at it, and the city has to weigh, doing what we can to expand or extend the life of our canopy. But these trees are at the end of their life cycle. They were all
85, 90 years old.
They were all planted at one time. And so the Tree Commission is working on a staggered planting plan. So as one comes down, we plant, and we try to extend the life of others. So that way, and with different species as well, I think that'll help extend the life in there. And so I've learned more about trees over the past few months. And my phone calls with Ralph Mitchell and his folks than I ever thought I would know.
How many are coming down on Parkway?
This time it's 4. We're bringing 4 down on Parkway. We're going to cable a couple, I believe is the plan there. And then we're going to clean, I want to say it was 4. 4 coming down. There's a top side of the pecan tree across from the library that we're going to clean up and extend that side. And then a cabling on one, I think. But our priority now is, where most of our runners are. We're trying to mitigate risk, with some of these big limbs. We've got some limbs that are kind of dead and hollow that are over the roadway. So you'll see those come down, but you'll see trees immediately planted, new trees that will immediately be planted to replace those, so we can start their life cycle. And hopefully our great grandkids can
We'll get to
enjoy the new canopy.
feel the shade of that.
That's
Yeah.
right.
There's some quote out there about that from literature, and I can't remember who said it or wrote it, but something about planting trees that shade that you'll never experience.
Yeah,
But it's
but that's
thinking about the future.
We have to plan that way. That's exactly right.
Yeah. I wasn't going to ask this, but Christy Jones had said, big fan of the social media leverage, love the downtown lighting and the food pantry post. That downtown lighting that you posted about businesses.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
What
Because
was behind it? We are going into the holiday season.
Yeah.
So what was behind that, and what's the plan?
I can take zero credit for this at all. So this was a kind of a combo, because the Leadership HT kids did a project for lighting around the mall area, and kind of doing some more over there. And then the Downtown Redevelopment Authority put a pocket of money aside in order to do this project in partnership with them. And there's some kids at the high school from the Electrical Academy that are helping cut them and all that.
Okay.
So it's a partnership between all of them and the Chamber of Commerce, where they did some initial social media posts, but they didn't get, to my understanding, enough involvement. So I was at a TRA meeting. They asked, hey, if I would make a social media post. And I hate to announce this, but it's a good and bad thing, because they asked me to update my post because they've run out of their allocation. So
oh, wow.
We'll try to do more next year, but that is now closed. And so you'll be getting, for those that applied, you'll be getting additional information via email. Ian asked me to make that post, and so I'll do that, but I'm going to announce it here as well. So excited about that. Seeing downtown Trussville lit up, it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be really, really good. And there's 2 different companies out there that are Chamber of Commerce members, or I believe, but they're both Hewitt Trussville grads. You've got Beaver Lighting and Red Nose. So they're offering discounted rates for those that are participating. So if you didn't take advantage of it and want to as a downtown business, reach out to one of them. They hang them up, they bring them down, they do all the work for you, and they're local kids. They're really, really good folks.
Yeah, there you go. Jim Miller said someone is sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago. He attributed that to Warren Buffett. So not bad. Thank you, Jim. What else is on the horizon? We've talked about a lot, but what else is kind of out there that feels important?
Let's cover this. Obviously, again, a lot of this requires council approval. So I can dream big, but ultimately it requires, a majority vote of the council. But I think we're all on board with this. The sports complex has a major parking issue. I think we can talk about that for a minute.
Okay.
We've obviously got updated baseball and softball fields. All those are turf. When we have host tournaments, and really just when we have multiple things going on in the park, traffic is a major issue. Yeah. And so, and parking is a major issue. So we've got some plans in the works to kind of create some additional parking in there while mitigating what trees come down, right? So I think you'll see an overflow parking. I'm going to be linking up with the tree commission, and we're going to kind of go over, a specific area where we can do some crushed gravel, kind of like the high school. Leave as many big trees as we possibly can, clear the underbrush, and create some parking out of that. I think we can be very intentional inside the park and create the parking that we need to solve that problem, and kind of be more intentional about walking paths, so people aren't walking along the road at night. There's a major safety issue there. So
yes, there is.
Some crosswalk improvements, some lighting improvements, and some parking improvements, I think, are going to happen hopefully relatively quickly in the park. Not the long-term solution. The long-term solution is obviously we need more fields. Our utilization is through the roof in pretty much every sport. At some point, we are going to have to create additional multi-purpose fields. There's just I don't believe they'll be turf. I think they'll be grass, but we'll see how that goes. Right now we're going to do what we can with the money that we have, even though we're restricted, significantly restricted, and because we're being very intentional about every dollar this year. I think we can do it affordably and create some solutions inside of there. So I think you'll see that.
Yeah. So that overflow parking for now, like, are we talking more baseball, softball, soccer, all the above?
All the above.
All the above.
All the above.
Man, okay. Please encourage parking even at farther lots. Protect the bike lane.
Yep, exactly. We're on the same page. Who was that one?
That was Christy Jones.
Yeah, on the same page.
There we go.
Hey, and I will tell everybody. So once the parking solution is put in place, everybody's going to get 1 week of warnings from Trussville PD for those that are in the bike lane. And then after that, everybody's getting cited. Everybody. So once once we have parking spots, you don't have a reason anymore. So get out of the bike lane, because we did. I got a report that a child was hit in there, not major, not life-threatening injury or anything, but coming in and out of that bike lane on a scooter. So we've got to solve that. And the plan, hopefully the engineers will have it on my desk this week. They've been working on it for a little bit. So
okay. Well, let's start to wrap this thing up. But, I think a lot of people think about, oh, what are your plans the next 4 years? And I know that is what you're planning for, but how does what you want to do, what this council wants to do, ultimately set up Trussville for decades from now, 10, 20, 30 years from now?
Look, if I can accomplish one thing, it would be getting that comprehensive master plan in place with specific policies that outline how often it is reviewed and updated. It's great to have a master plan, but if we're not continuously reviewing that from an internal perspective and making updates to those plans, it's kind of pointless. And so my hope is that we provide the blueprint and the foundation that sets it up. That way we're not having to start from scratch, and we're not having to update regulations that are as old as they are moving forward, because we're continuously looking at it. We're continuously adapting it to adjust to what is a city that is continuously evolving.
Absolutely. That's really all I got. We got a couple minutes. If anybody ends up wanting to put a question in the chat or anything, I guess we'll wait like a minute or two, see if anybody's got any questions. It's been mostly comments on lately on bike lanes and the trees and stuff like that. So just if you got any questions, put anything in there. I'll take another second while we wait, just in case, just to tell you, Riders Block Live, sponsored by 360 Lending, Lisa McClellan, navigating paths to home ownership. Visit my360lending.com. It's also sponsored by the Mark Turner Law Firm. Visit markturnerlawfirm.com or call 205-568-7003. I'm not seeing any questions yet. So
while we wait a couple more minutes here, let me cover this, because I think we did cover it in the beginning. But
sure,
I mentioned this at the mayor's address and a handful of times. I was extremely grateful to have the opportunity to work with Buddy Choate, not only as his employee when he first started, but obviously served in his administration, and getting to work alongside Lisa Bright, Alan Taylor, Perry Cook, and Jamie Anderson really meant a lot to me. We've done a lot for the city, in my opinion. A lot of things unseen that y'all will probably never be thanked for. So I just want to thank you for your years of service to Trussville, and really I'm just grateful to have had the opportunity to work alongside you, and grateful to have counted you as a friend and colleague, each and every one of you.
Well said. We did have one question here from Tyler Young. When is a traffic light going to be placed in front of Carrington?
All right, so we're actually they're in the engineering phase, but unfortunately that's ALDOT money. So we are 12 to 18 months away, but to my knowledge, we're 12 to 18 months away. But again, ALDOT, it is ever evolving, and we're making good progress on the interstate. So I don't want to say anything beyond that to make them mad at me. So we want that interstate project to keep going the way it is. Yeah. But it is coming. The money's been allocated, and there are some plans to make some improvements, not only in front of Carrington, but hopefully along that Highway 11 corridor as well.
Yeah, so needed too. I'm glad Stockton has one now. Like it got to where.
Now it took a long time for us to get. And that's why I say by the time we had the money to where we are, it also was that 12 to 18 month time frame by the time it happened.
Yeah,
but it's coming.
And it's so important too. Like I got to where I just didn't, especially with a little one, like I didn't want to turn left out of Stockton.
Yeah.
And same thing for Carrington now. There were days where I'd be coming from, passing Glendale Farms, coming like back into Trussville from the Argo side, and it'd be, school rush hour. And I'm like, you people just are leaving it all up to God right now, because you're just pulling out in front of everybody.
Yeah, if I was Amanda and I were fortunate that we lived in Pepper Tree. We don't anymore, but right. We're over in the crossings now. But we were able to turn right. I never had to turn that left out. Unless I was in a police car. I did have to do it in a police car a few times.
Well, it might be a little easier to
just hit those lights if you need to.
I don't see any other questions. Jim Miller's tuned in. He said, great job. Jumped in late. He'll catch up on what he missed. So I guess we'll wrap it right there.
Sounds good.
Anything else?
No, I think that you got it covered.
All right. You want to check back in on like a recorded podcast in the future?
We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it. You might be a little busy.
Yeah, well, it just depends on the schedule. We'll see if we can get you penciled in.
Shoot. You got enough. But I will hold you to that. So, all right. Appreciate y'all tuning in. This will be saved on Facebook for however long Facebook wants to leave it there. It'll be on YouTube as well. When I get home, I'll run it through Spotify, do some audio tweaks and put it out there for Spotify and Apple as well, so that you can listen to it on your commute tomorrow. So appreciate you doing this and wrapping up these lives, and just thank you and congratulations again on
Well, thanks, man.
the mayor.
Hey, and before he hits stop, for those that have served in the United States Armed Forces, appreciate your service. I know tomorrow is Veterans Day, so if you are listening to this, thank a veteran for their years of service. I'm just grateful for all you've done for this country. So just want to throw that out there as we end it.
Sounds good. Appreciate you guys.